Leslie Moreno did not believe in luck. She believed in pressure. "Let's stop pretending this is a discussion," she said calmly. "You called me because you're out of options." Daniel Halpern stiffened at the head of the table. His name was etched into the frosted glass wall behind him. Halpern Industrial Systems. Founder, CEO, legacy. Across from him sat Leslie Moreno, legs crossed, posture relaxed, expression almost bored. The rest of the board shifted uneasily. Halpern forced a laugh. "Moreno Capital owns 11% of this company. I wouldn't call that control." Leslie didn't smile. "It will be 18% by closing bell." The CFO's head snapped toward her. "That's not possible. It is when your second-largest institutional holder loses confidence at 8:17 this morning." She slid her phone across the table. An email preview glowed on the screen. "They've already agreed to sell." The room went silent. Halpern's jaw tightened. "You orchestrated this." "No," she said evenly. "You did. I simply noticed." She stood and walked slowly toward the window, Manhattan gleaming below. "Your debt covenants trigger at a 5-point drop," she continued. "Your credit line evaporates. Suppliers panic. Stock collapses. At that point, I short your company into the ground and acquire the pieces through structured bankruptcy." She turned back to him. "Or," she said softly, "you resign." "This is extortion," a board member said, clearing his throat. Leslie's gaze settled on him. "No," she replied evenly. "This is capitalism." Halpern's face had gone pale. "You destroy 8,000 jobs." "I'm not destroying them," she replied. "You already did when you leveraged expansion without hedging currency risk." She walked back to her seat, sat, and folded her hands. "You mistook growth for strategy." The CFO leaned forward. "If you take control, what happens to us?" Leslie didn't hesitate. "2 of you stay, 3 of you go." "Based on what?" "Competence." Halpern's voice dropped. "This company is my life's work." "That's the problem," she said quietly. "You built it around ego, not sustainability. You're ruthless." She held his gaze. "Yes," the word landed like a gavel. A long silence stretched. Finally, Halpern exhaled, shoulders sagging. "If I step down now, what are the terms?" There it was. Submission. Leslie slid a thin folder across the table. Public statement citing strategic transition. 12-month advisory role. Equity buyout at today's valuation. She paused. Before the drop, he looked up sharply. "That's generous. It won't be tomorrow." The board members exchanged glances. One gave a subtle nod. Halpern closed his eyes briefly. When he opened them, the fight was gone. "I'll resign." Leslie rose. "Effective immediately," she said. 20 minutes later, she stood alone in her corner office. Lo, the city moved without sentiment. Her assistant stepped in cautiously. "Press is already calling it a hostile takeover." She removed her blazer, draping it precisely over the chair. "Good," she said. "They're saying you're the female version of—" "I know what they're saying." The nickname had been circulating for months. The modern embodiment of Gordon Gekko. Greed is good. Leslie didn't believe greed was good. She believed weakness was fatal. "Schedule the restructuring call," she said, "and initiate the short position. The market will dip before confidence stabilizes." Her assistant hesitated. "That will accelerate the layoffs." Leslie didn't look up from the screen. "Was that a question? Then they should have run a better company." When the door closed, she turned toward the window. No guilt, no doubt, just strategy. Her office overlooked Manhattan like a throne. Her penthouse did too. And both were immaculate. Leslie did not believe in emotional investments, only profitable ones. Her assistant stepped into the hallway. What a vicious bitch. No wonder they call her the Gordon Gekko of Wall Street. The interview. The name on the badge said Gabe Cruz, intern. His resume said senior grid systems engineer. For 12 years, he had helped design power distribution networks across 3 states. He knew how electricity moved through cities. Where it failed, where it held. Now he was sitting in her office asking for an entry-level job in finance. Leslie flipped through the pages. You're well built. I mean, you built infrastructure. She turned red. What am I saying? He's just another man interviewing for a job. Yes, he said. A small smile. Leslie regained her rhythm. And now you want to work in finance? It's all numbers. She raised an eyebrow. It all runs on the same math. That almost made her smile. Almost. You think trading energy derivatives is the same as building a grid? He held her gaze. One moves electricity, he said. The other decides who gets it. She looked up at him then. Really looked at him. He didn't look away. He didn't try to impress her. He just waited. And for a moment, the numbers on her desk didn't matter. What mattered was the way his mouth curved slightly when he said, "Pew." She caught herself staring. And that's when she noticed it. She wasn't looking at his resume anymore. She was looking at his mouth while he talked. The shape of his words. The calm in them. She blinked and looked back at the paper in front of her. You think you can handle this world? She asked. I know I can. Silence stretched between them. For the first time in a long time, the numbers on her desk didn't matter. The market didn't matter. The deal waiting for her signature didn't matter. What mattered was the way he was looking at her. And that unsettled her more than any risk ever had. Then her phone buzzed. Caller ID, Martin Hale, attorney. Her stomach tightened. End of Epi ode 1.